Chase, in our world at the moment, it seems like there's a mandate to divide people. When we see things differently, whether it's political parties or vaccines or lockdowns or world religions, or whether you're a dog person or a cat person, are there ways in which we can respect and actually be enriched by the perspectives of other people who see the world differently from us, instead of getting possessed by animalistic tribalism? There are. Dr. Jordan Peterson had an awesome illustration that he used differently to talk about cognitive psychology, but that I'm going to apply to differences in worldview. Because reality is a complicated thing. It's far too complicated for this 3-pound lump of matter called our brain to understand. Let's just pretend that this oversimplified picture is reality in and of itself. There are patterns within patterns. And what the human mind does when faced with even this small amount of complexity is use shortcuts called heuristics. Compares it to things that we've seen before. So whereas the thing in and of itself looks like this is a relatively accurate shortcut. It's saying, well, basically what we're looking at is a big rectangle. Right. And so is this. We could also say, well, no, it's actually 4 rectangles. Now, a person might say, well, you can't both be talking about the same thing because 1 and 4 can't possibly be equal, and thus we clash. Monotheism says that there's only one God. Polytheism says that there's many. Could they be using different perspectives to describe the same spiritual world? Bear in mind, Abraham was raised in the pagan religions before he had his epiphany about God. And Moses was trained in the magic and power of Egypt before he encountered God on the mountain. We can have one of these shifts in perspective where the foreground becomes the background, and the background becomes the foreground. It was there all along, but we just weren't conditioned to see it. Or how about someone who sees reality like this? They say, no, the rectangles are very long and have small little widths, and there's 24 of them. It sounds like a very different description, but it's also an accurate description, a shortcut picture of reality in and of itself. Or people may say, no, there's only the cross. Or they could say that the cross is a recurring fractal, contrasting light and dark. And reality in and of itself can be described mathematically, or can be described in its patterns and its shapes, or can be described abstractly to represent something like a country. Now, I'm not saying everyone's right. If someone saw reality like this, they would have a slightly distorted vision. If we were placed in amongst this maze, one way to test the accuracy of our worldview is by following the path and seeing whether it leads to increasing liberation and light, or whether it leads to roadblocks and entrapment. Is it accurate? Does the map describe the human conditions as we find them? And does following it lead to good things? I believe that ultimately it all leads to the Logos, because all truth is God's truth, as I went into detail about in my Logos Spermatikos concept in the Christ video. By stepping into other people's visions of the world, we can enhance our own and more accurately put our worldviews to the test, honing in on the nuances. The book of Revelation in the Bible says that in heaven there will be people of every nation and every language. Diversity is God's game, and we're all made slightly differently with these different visions and abilities so that we can perform a purpose that's much larger than each of our own individualities. Like a body isn't made up of all eyes or all feet. In the information age, we have access to the world's diversity of vision. What an opportunity to move beyond tribalism and to chart the most accurate maps of our existential conditions that the human mind has ever conceived of. Instead of being in opposition, let's chart together in unity, my friends. Do you disagree? Well, that's awesome. Let's chat about it and compare maps. And join us once a month for our open existential Zoom gatherings with our international crew, because this is what we do. Check it out on aslansrainbow.com.